Hey guys, this is Elena.
And it's Candace.
And you're listening to Cousins on Crime.
I love your dangly earrings over there.
Thank you. My mom bought these for me at the Palo Duro Canyon.
Aww. Oh.
Yeah, kind of a long story. I put in the wrong directions to Palo Duro. So Palo Duro Canyon, you want to go to the state park.
Oh.
You don't want to just put into the maps Palo Duro Canyon.
You don't want to put in the gift shop?
No, Palo Duro Canyon goes to just the middle of nowhere. There's ranches all over the place. You get to see a little bit of a canyon, but it's not the canyon. So if you're going to look up directions to Palo Duro Canyon, do the Palo Duro Canyon State Park.
Is that in Texas?
It is. It's in Texas. It's close to
Okay.
Amarillo. And yeah, it's beautiful out there. But the Palo Duro Canyon where I went was an hour and a half away from the actual Palo Duro Canyon State Park.
Oh.
And so I was so mad. And my mom, to make up for it, not that she even had to, she bought me these earrings from there.
Aw.
She loves me so much.
She's like, Lena, you know what? Just have these earrings.
Yeah.
They be dangly.
Yeah.
Well, I like them.
Thank you.
I always feel like a lady when I'm wearing dangly earrings.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. And as you can see, no makeup, but I had to dress myself up with these
Yeah.
earrings. I mean,
Hey,
my hair's a mess.
Do what you got to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, what you got for us tonight?
Well, this case has been on a few different podcasts, so you may have heard it, but it just
Okay.
struck me. We're talking about Lauren Giddings. Does that ring a bell?
Well, let's get into it
Okay.
because that name doesn't ring a bell right now.
Okay, but the story might. Okay, so Lauren Giddings was born on April 18th of 1984. And so she was just a month younger than me. She was born in Tacoma Park, Maryland. She had two sisters, Caitlin and Sarah. She was outgoing and made friends easily. She shined everywhere she went and with everything that she did.
Oh.
In high school, she played field hockey and softball. In 2002, she moved to Georgia and attended Agnes Scott College until 2006 when she graduated with a major in political science. She minored in religious studies and played softball there. After she graduated from that, she went back home and worked for the National Center for Public Policy in Washington, D.C.
Wow.
Yes, she was very driven. In 2008, Lauren moved to Macon, Georgia, to go to Mercer University Law School. She found a church there and quickly got involved. She was the first person in her family to go to college, actually. And
Wow.
she joined a running club while she was there. She spent time helping others and made sure to make time with her friends, like going to dinners. And on Wednesdays, she would wear pink and eat cake.
I like it.
That was said of, so she was an intern at a law group in, I think, Atlanta is what I read. And that's where she started the wear pink and eat cake on Wednesdays at the law firm.
I think I need to do it. I don't care about the pink, but the cake, for sure.
That's a great idea. But pink was her favorite color. She really got involved in everything that she could She was even described as a real-life Elle Woods.
Oh, I love it.
I knew you would like that.
I object.
One of her sisters said she really didn't bloom until college. She was loud and fun, but she wasn't as much like that in high school. Lauren moved into an apartment complex across from the school at Mercer University and made a point to get to know most of her neighbors. By the time graduation rolled around, Lauren was 27. She told her family and friends several times that she felt like someone was watching her.
Oh, no.
And she thought that someone had come into her apartment and took some of her things.
Oh, my gosh. I hate that.
I know. She said she...
I can't imagine.
She's like, I can't prove it, but she wouldn't...
It's just not right. Like, it's just like a feeling. Like your stuff's...
Right.
Oh.
Well, and just evidence like she would notice things when her mail was, say, like in the dining room. She would come home and it would be in the living room.
Oh my gosh. That freaks me out.
Yeah.
Does she live alone?
Yeah. She lived by herself.
That must have been scary for her.
Yeah. Yeah. And even clothes that were in the hamper, she would come home and they would be laying in the floor.
No.
Yeah. So it seemed that no one really took the claims seriously, and most said that she was probably just being paranoid.
Yeah.
She was worried enough to get a door jammer put on her front door for extra protection. She kept pepper spray with her and double and triple checked her locks when she shut her door. The neighbor that lived downstairs from her was a guy named Stephen McDaniel. Stephen was a recluse and didn't have a lot of friends. He spent a lot of time online, and his screen name was SOL, Son of Liberty.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, he was raised in church, and when he was younger, he was involved in mission work with the church, and he performed in the church plays. And when 9/11 happened, Stephen became extra paranoid and became sort of a survivalist. He would save water and other supplies.
Right.
He purchased multiple guns and knives. He was very interested in medieval times movies.
Okay.
So when I heard this, I immediately thought of Monty Python.
I was about to say that was probably his favorite.
Yeah.
It's a flesh
you know
wound.
the one. Yeah. Where the Black Knight gets his arm cut off and he's like, "'Tis but a scratch." But yeah, I'm sure he was talking about more serious medieval times movies, but
Man, the
that
medieval
one
times,
just came to me.
I tell you, what a scary time.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd put you on a table and just stretch your body out. Like
They had a torture chamber.
The stuff they did in the medieval times makes the Holocaust look
Yeah.
tame.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Have you ever gone on a field trip to like the medieval times?
Like
I guess
the
it's just
castle?
called Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got to go into their makeshift dungeon
Oh,
with
my
all their
Lord.
contraptions. That was creepy. Like,
Yeah.
what was I in 6th grade?
Oh, kids, come down here. Get a feel for what it was really like.
So under his SOL screen name in post online, he talked about how he was bullied by a jock for the way he dressed and not cutting his hair. I mean, he had long, bushy hair. So one day he stabbed the jock on the wrist.
Oh, okay.
So he's talking about this in his post. And but what we do know about that story is that Stephen was never punished because no one could prove that he was the one that did the harm.
Wow.
He made it clear in these posts that he had very much believed that there would be another invasion on U.S. soil like the one on 9/11, and he was prepared for what was to come. He talked about his sister being a waste of space and how
Wow.
his mother was spiritual. He made a post acknowledging that he was a social recluse and the negative effect that could have on him for law school. You see, he was going to the same law
Oh.
school as Lauren.
Wow. Interesting.
Yes. And so he talked about how it would be difficult for him to have a romantic relationship. And in another post, he talks about liking someone, but he's so mentally broken, he can't tell her how he feels
Oh, Lord.
and can only watch from a distance.
Ew.
Yeah.
These
So
are
all
posts
Stephen,
on Facebook?
well, it didn't say. I think it's
Like
more
a blog or...
like a blog or dark web or
Yeah.
he was on several dating websites actually.
Nice. Swipe left. I don't know. Is it left or right for
Uh,
no?
I have no idea. Thank God I don't. I've never had to deal with that. So all Stephen had was his internet posts to escape to, and in came Lauren, this shining star. And as friendly as she was, she made it a point to say hi and smile at everyone, and Stephen became obsessed with her.
No.
He felt that despite his awkwardness, she still was kind and saw him as a person when really no one else did. He started going to the Federalist Club with Lauren, which is an organization made up of lawyers and law students and scholars who believe and trust that individual citizens can make the best choices for themselves and society, basically making sure that the principles of limited government embodied in our Constitution receiving a fair hearing. Blah, blah, blah. But they became, Lauren was the president of the club, and Stephen became the vice president.
No.
So 2 nights before their graduation, that May of 2011, Lauren invited Stephen to a graduation party at a bar. He went, but he spent his time playing darts by himself.
What?
Lauren's friends warned her from spending time with him as they all felt that there was just something odd and different about him.
Yeah.
And Lauren would just laugh it off. She would say, if he's really dangerous, then I will be the only one that's safe because I'm the only one that's nice to him. So Stephen, he finally mustered up the courage and asked her on a date. I think he asked her a few times on a date, and Lauren would just politely tell him no. And she did already have a boyfriend. He was actually an attorney at the law firm that she was an intern at.
Ah.
But this only fueled Stephen's flame for Lauren.
Yeah.
So she graduated law school and earned her law degree. She planned to start a career as a defense attorney, but her next step would be to pass the bar exam. Lauren's sister Caitlin was married in June, shortly after she graduated law school, and so Lauren was able to make it back home to Maryland and attend the wedding. She then went back to Macon, Georgia, to begin studying for the bar. She told friends and family that for the rest of June and July, she wouldn't be able to hang out much because she would be spending most of her time studying.
Yeah, that's intense.
Yeah. But she told them if they need her, they can call her. On June 25th at 10:30 p.m., Lauren wrote an email to her boyfriend telling him that she would have to start packing since her lease ended in a week, and she was excited about the future with him. And then she told him again that she felt like someone tried to break into her apartment, but she didn't have proof. After she sent the email, she checked her locks and she set the door jamb and she settled into bed. By June 29th, Lauren's friends and family had not heard from her in 4 days. Family and friends called to check on her, and her phone went straight to voicemail, and texts were unanswered. A group of friends went together to Lauren's apartment to check on her, and they knocked on the door, banging on the door and calling out for Lauren. Well, Stephen came out of his apartment and asked, "What's going on? Why are y'all calling for Lauren?" They told him their concerns, and they asked him if they had seen or heard from her in the last 4 days, and he said no. He began to help them look for her. A friend found a spare key that Lauren had hidden, and they went into her apartment. They saw no sign of foul play. Her keys, purse, and cell phone were all still in the apartment, but Lauren was not there. Police were called and started questioning family and friends. Lauren's uncle told police that Lauren had a creepy neighbor who was obsessed with her. So Stephen was quickly on their radar. They also spoke to all of her neighbors and asked each of them for consent for their homes to be searched. They all consented except for one neighbor.
Stephen.
You guessed it. Stephen, yes. He agreed to be questioned, but didn't feel comfortable letting the police into his apartment.
Why? Why not?
As Detective Patterson was canvassing the area, he smelled an odor coming from a trash bin in front of the apartment buildings. It was a smell that he had smelled too many times. The distinct smell of a decomposing body.
Oh.
This bin was supposed to be picked up and dumped earlier that day.
I was
but
just about to say.
Mm-hmm.
It was still there.
It was still there. The garbage company was unable to get to the trash bin because of all of the police commotion in the area.
Wow.
Yes. Detective Patterson walked over to it, and there they found Lauren's torso.
Oh my God.
They tried to keep this discovery between the police and detectives. They interviewed Stephen. They took him to the police station, and as Stephen went back to his home, they dropped him off at his apartment, and they went over to back to Lauren's apartment. They asked him once more if they could come in and have a look around, and he continued to tell them that he was just uncomfortable with that. He must have realized how sussy that made him look.
Yeah.
So he ended up allowing them to go in as long as he was able to go in there with them.
Okay.
So he tried to explain away the discomfort as he was a law student and knows his rights and blah, blah, blah. He said, "It's the lawyer in me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just always protective of my space."
Yeah.
So as they go in and they're seeing all of this survivalist paraphernalia. Yeah. Bottles
Racks
of water.
of green beans.
He starts talking about and explaining his obsession with it. He then started telling them that he was a virgin and he was waiting for marriage to have sex, and
Okay. Keep talking.
just blabbing his mouth.
Oh, Lord.
Detectives left his apartment and went back over to Lauren's. Stephen went outside and he ran into a news reporter from WGXA.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
So the reporter starts asking questions and recording him on camera. The reporter says, "Have you seen her hanging out with anyone?" And Stephen says, No one has seen her since Saturday. I haven't seen anything. I mean, I always hear noises outside, but it's people just walking by. And the reporter says, "And she just recently graduated from Mercer?" And Stephen says, "Yeah, she and I were both JD students and graduated back in May." The reporter says, "What kind of person was she?" And he says, "She is as nice as can be. I mean, very personable, very much a people person." And she asks him, "Do you know of any enemies she might have had or anyone that wanted to hurt her?" He says, "No, I mean, we don't know where she is. The only thing we can think is maybe she went out running and someone snatched her. We went over, one of her friends had a key, and we went inside to try to see if there was anything amiss, but I mean, she had a door jamb and that was sitting right by, so there was no sign that anyone broke in. I mean, the door was locked when everyone got there. We just don't know where she is. Just blabbing
Just
his mouth.
on and on. Wow.
So the reporter mentioned to him that the police found part of a body. I don't know how they found out, but you know, I'm sure they were asking lots of questions everywhere around. So
was it without a head? Was it just the torso?
Right,
No
just
arms
the
or
torso.
legs?
No arms, no
My
legs, no head.
God.
So the reporter mentions to him that the police found part of a body, and she says, "So what about the parking lot area? I know that's where they recovered the body or whatever they recovered from there." He looks at her and he says, "Body?" And he just stared in space. He looked like he was going to be sick. And the reporter says, "I mean, I don't know if it's the same person, but they took out a body earlier." And he swayed and he stumbled a little. And the reporter says, "Are you okay, sir?" And Stephen says, "I think I need to sit down." He walks a few steps and he sits on the sidewalk with his back turned to the camera. And after a few minutes, he comes back to the reporter.
Oh, my Lord.
And so it's like, okay, is he this concerned friend that is like,
Right.
"Oh my gosh, this body,
Like he
they
just
found a body?"
Yeah.
Or is he like, "Oh my gosh, they
Oh,
found
crap.
the body that I dumped."
Right. Like,
So-
oh, crap, it was still there.
Yeah, it wasn't dumped. Oh my gosh. So after a few minutes, he comes back to the reporter and she starts asking how much interaction they had. And he's telling her, "Oh, I rarely ever saw her." And he says maybe like a couple weeks ago. And he says, again, she likes to go running. And I don't know anyone that would want to hurt her. She's as nice a person as can be, you know, just, and then he starts crying and like breathing heavy. The reporter says, "What's going on in your mind right now? Like, what are you thinking?"
Keep asking the questions, lady.
Yeah. And Stephen says, in almost like a childlike whine, he's like, "Why would anyone do this?" And it goes on for a little longer with the reporter asking him questions of what he knew about her, like her family where her family lives, and he talks about her dog getting hit by a car and her boyfriend in Atlanta, and he talked about being with one of her friends when they went into her apartment and they read her emails on her computer to figure out what was going on, and how one of the emails talked about how she was scared in her apartment. Someone was trying to break in. And he says, if she was scared, I would have lent her a handgun, you know, just...
Right, but you didn't know her, right? You knew her, but then you didn't know her, and...
Yeah. So detectives learned of this news interview, and they found it very interesting and odd. I mean, not to mention...
Right.
Her family and friends saw this interview, this news report, and they already had
right.
an
Creep
icky feeling about
vibes.
him. Yeah. So they brought him in for more questioning and asked to search his apartment further, and he agreed. When he learned that they would be using cadaver dogs, he told them, "Well, I may have stepped in something at some point that could alert the dogs.
Oh, please.
Just
I
FYI."
stepped in a dead body?
Mm-hmm. So before the dogs entered into his home, they did alert. They alerted outside. They alerted to the maintenance closet in the laundry room of the apartment complex.
Oh, no.
In that maintenance closet, they found a hacksaw with blood on it.
Oh, my gosh. Gruesome.
That blood, yes, that blood was determined to be Lauren's. In Stephen's apartment, they found Lauren's apartment key. They found the master key to the entire apartment building.
Oh, my.
They found the packing to the hacksaw that they found in the maintenance closet. They found condoms, even though he said he was saving himself for marriage.
Dreamer.
The police asked him why he had the condoms, and he admitted that he did break into other apartments and took them, kind of like a trophy.
Okay. Right.
So since he admitted to burglary, they took him to jail on burglary charges, and he sat there for a month as investigators gathered more and more evidence to charge him for Lauren's murder.
Wow.
Another discovery, Stephen had several videos on his phone of the inside of Lauren's apartment.
Oh, that's so messed up.
Yeah, looking in from the window, including the night of her murder.
Oh my gosh.
So here's what we do know now. Stephen stole Lauren's apartment master key from her landlord. He noted all aspects of her schedule, when she came, when she went. He would go through her garbage. In a search of his apartment, they found Lauren's underwear. Stephen knew that Lauren would be leaving soon, and he could not bear it. He tried, that night he tried using the master key, the night of her murder, to get into her apartment, but found that something was blocking the door. He got frustrated and went back to his apartment, taped his phone to a long pole. He went to the back of the building and raised the phone high enough. Remember, he was the downstairs neighbor. So he raised the phone high enough to film and see inside of Lauren's apartment to see what was blocking the door.
What a freak.
Yes. He could see that she had a door jammer, so he went back home and Googled how to, or Google searched how to break into someone's home when they have a door jamming burglar bar.
Wow.
Well, yeah, we all know that Google knows just about everything,
Right.
So yeah, he was able to get the answer of how to break into someone's home. So at around 4:30 a.m., he was able to enter Lauren's apartment and went into her bedroom and watched her sleep. At around 4:30 a.m., he was able to enter into Lauren's apartment and went into her bedroom and watched her sleep while he was wearing a mask.
Ew.
Yes. Lauren ended up opening her eyes and seeing him and told him to get the F out.
Yeah.
And Stephen then started attacking her. He pinned her down. She fought back and pushed him off, but the fight continued. As he started to strangle her, she was able to pull off his mask and saw that it was Stephen, and she begged him to stop.
Oh my God.
Well, he did not stop. He finished what he went there to do, and he made sure she was dead and put her in her bathtub. He went back to his apartment and spent the day on his computer.
What?
The next day, he went back to her apartment with a hacksaw and cut off her head, arms, and legs. He placed them in black trash bags. He put the bags in different dumpsters around the area.
Oh my Lord.
He cut up everything that he wore when he murdered her, even the mask and gloves, and discarded them. One report I heard was that he flushed them down the toilet. I just feel like that's a lot to flush down.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But he put her torso in another black trash bag and put it in a trash can in front of his apartment the following Tuesday, and he then cleaned her apartment. In a computer analysis, his searches were found to be all about Lauren. Looking at her Twitter and Facebook accounts, searches like nude Lauren Giddings and one for molest sleeping girl.
Oh Lord.
And another was choked unconscious, how long, wake up.
Wow.
There were several chilling posts that he made in the time leading up to the murder. His online post would talk about violence towards women, how he fantasized about knocking them out physically or with drugs, and what he would do to them while they were unconscious. He even talked about what he would do if he ever ended up killing a person, and about how if he ever got caught, that he would basically act like he had mental issues so that he would be institutionalized and be too incompetent to stand trial.
Yeah.
So the next time in the interrogation room on June 30th is when he would put on the big act. Detective Patterson came in and started asking questions. Stephen sat there staring very weirdly and slowly saying one-word answers. It's a long, drawn-out interrogation, and Patterson starts nonchalant conversation and then escalates to begging for Stephen's help. He's like, "You were her friend. Like, just help us. Where is she at? Do you know what she was doing?" And Stephen just keeps saying, first of all, so Detective Patterson told Stephen to put his hands up on the table, and Stephen put his hands on the table and left them there, just sitting up straight, hands on the table, straight-faced, and all he's saying is, "I don't know."
Oh my gosh.
Patterson asks about the panties. Apparently he had cut the panties to look like a mask.
What?
And Patterson asks about Stephen's guns and swords and knives that he had. He calmly and slowly continues to answer all of his questions, and later on Patterson asks, "What's going on with you? Earlier we had a normal conversation and we sat and talked, and now you're acting like you don't know what's going on. Why are you acting like this?" And Stephen says, "I don't understand."
Oh my Lord. Get a life.
It goes on, and I couldn't count how many times he said, "I don't know." And Patterson starts to get upset and
I was about to
says,
say, he's getting tired of this.
yeah. He says, "You're all over the news, and you sure ran your mouth on there, but now you don't know." And he says, this act ain't working on me."
Yeah.
Another detective eventually walks in the room and tries to ramp things up, but Stephen does not break the act. They talked about the scratch on his stomach, and Stephen's like, "I think I scratched myself while I was asleep."
Okay.
The detectives walk out of the room at one point, leaving Stephen in there by himself. The whole time, he sat staring blankly and didn't move. At the end, Patterson comes in for the one last-ditch effort, and he basically says, "We know you did it. You can sit there with that dumb look on your face, but it's all over for you. You thought you were smarter than everybody else, but you're not." So Stephen was charged with the murder. With the evidence of his internet history and the videos they found on Stephen's phone of Lauren's apartment from the night of the murder, her items that were in his apartment, the keys to her apartment that they found in his possession, among other evidence. They also charged him with 20 counts of child pornography.
Gross.
Found on a USB.
Disgusting.
Stephen eventually asked for a plea deal. A few years later, I think, the whole process going on, he eventually asked for a plea deal, and he said he would plead guilty and admit to what happened in writing. In return, they would not proceed to trial or ask for the death penalty, and they take away the child pornography charges.
Anything
Well,
else?
The DA agreed. Stephen was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole, and he's eligible for parole in 2041.
Oh.
In 2018 and in 2022, Stephen made an appeal stating that the detectives conducted an unlawful investigation and didn't properly do their jobs and violated his rights. He represented himself, because
of course.
he graduated law school.
Psycho.
And both appeals were denied.
Denied.
The rest of Lauren's body, sadly, has not ever been located.
Oh, no.
Lauren's family, they do keep her memory alive. They talk about her often and still celebrate her birthday. It's coming up April 18th.
Okay. I'll be eating cake and wearing pink.
Yes. Yes. In 8 days. Well, I guess today is April 10th while we're recording. So April 18th. A plaque was put up at Mercer Law School, and a pink bench is at Washington Park in the heart of the city in memory of her.
I love that.
They have organized several annual 5K runs in Lauren's name, and all money raised goes towards the Lauren Giddings Scholarship, benefiting a Mercer Law Association of Women Law Students member to go towards bar exam preparation expenses. She is remembered for her passion for giving back, and I think you can still give to the scholarship at Agnes Scott College online if you feel so inclined. But just another example of turning tragedy into something beautiful.
Yeah.
Keeping her memory alive, giving back to something that she's passionate about.
Yeah, I love when people do that. I'm so angry that he has the possibility of parole.
Yeah.
Because his pathology is obviously deviant.
Yeah.
I mean, he, for years, was fixated on this government stuff, and that's fine. Like, people have their opinions and their beliefs, but when you take action and you take things to the next level, like he did,
right,
and then you fixate on somebody, and it's clearly about control, because he didn't care about Lauren. It was just, she was the fixation. She was the article.
She showed him attention and smiled at him, and
the only
he's like,
one.
I just...
And this gives me Brian Koberger vibes, because this is just like, he fixated on those girls.
Right. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
He had a plan, and he planned it all out ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
This guy planned it all out. A pole? Sticking your phone on a pole to see that is messed up.
Yeah.
Oh, that just
and the
gives
fact
me
that she knew something was going on, and she was almost out of there in a week or so.
Oh my God.
And it just, her sister talked in an interview that I saw about, how, yes, be kind to everybody as much as you can, but then you can be kind to someone almost to a fault,
Yes.
too much.
Yes. I recently started listening to Zone 7, a podcast with Cheryl McCollum. She's like a forensic expert. She founded a cold case organization, and she's amazing. But she was saying that she has an FBI friend who taught his daughter from a young age, never smile at strangers. Don't smile at strangers. Like, you can be nice, you can be cordial, but you do not need to smile at other people.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I'm one of those people, like, if I've had a long day or whatever, I don't make eye contact with people or smile. And I had a comment said to me one time. This man said, "You'd be a whole lot prettier if you smiled." And I just thought, you shut right up. Like,
I'll just be ugly then. Thank you.
Yeah, I will be ugly. That is fine by me. Mm-hmm. But I have 3 girls to worry about, and Hazel she wants to be friends with everyone. She says, "Hi, friend," and will wave at anyone girl in the store. And it's the beauty, the innocence. But, I don't want her doing that. I don't want her making friends with everyone. And, you know, people are gross. They fixate.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, I
scary.
see your reservations. It's hard to, I mean, we've always learned about stranger danger, so definitely teach her stranger danger, but it's sad to think that that we're scared to be kind to people.
It is sad. It is. And you know, I'm very nice to people, but I will not go out of my way to be, you know, smile or do something friendly towards a stranger because I do not know you.
That kind of reminds me of Ted Bundy. You know how he was like, "Hey, can you come help me over here?" At my car, and then he abducts them.
Yeah. No, I can't help you at your car.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I got things to do.
I will call someone for you. You know, it's just like, and it is sad because you want to help, and I've done stupid things to help strangers, like stupid, idiot. Like
Me too.
One time, I was driving home. This was probably 5 years ago or something. Too recent of a time ago. But I saw this kid walking along. He had a Raising Cane's shirt on, and he was headed to work. Like, there was a Raising Cane's right across the busy freeway. And something in me just said, give him a ride to work. And I had a box of loose tiles in the back of my, like right behind the passenger's side seat. So I was like, if he tries anything, I'll just,
bust him
he will
upside
get
the head.
totally tiled in the face. But I picked him up, I took him to work, and I dropped him off, and he was so grateful. But I just, you know, that was stupid. I told Daniel when I got home, and he was like,
I bet he was
"Are you kidding
mad.
me?" He was like, "Don't ever do that again." That was dumb. But I don't know. I wanted to be nice. I knew he was going to work. I saw, you know, he was walking in that direction. But how dumb. That was stupid. That was really dumb.
Yeah. In another situation, that could have been really bad.
Yeah. But I want to be nice, but also I've been around the block enough to know that people often can't be trusted unless you know them to be trustworthy.
Right.
And even then,
I was about to say, but we also know.
And even then, how well do you know people? So
yeah.
I hate it. I hate it. Poor Lauren. Just, you know, the prime of her lime. Just living her best life, doing everything right, just being amazing.
Yeah.
And then some nasty has to go and cut that off. I hate it.
Yeah. Yeah. But
well, rest in peace, Lauren. We are going to be eating cake on the 18th for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Pink cake.
All right. Well, this was great. Let's do it again sometime.
Let's do it again. We'll see you next week, guys.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Well, thank you for listening to Cousins on Crime. If you're enjoying our podcast, please leave us a 5-star rating so that other true crime fans can find us.
If you have any case suggestions or just want to say hey, email us at cousinsoncrime@gmail.com. And be sure to follow us on Instagram where we post case photos and information at Cousins on Crime Podcast.